sooner than later,
Right.
whether or not this guy
Right.
is kid friendly. And that is one of the things that honestly just won me over with my husband, because I saw how he was with his kids. And that
Yeah.
is sort of like one of the little benefits, if you will, of being divorced. You can see how they're
See,
acting with their
how are
current
you
children.
with your kids?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I saw the father that he was to his daughters, and then he just from day one treated my daughter like he was one of her,
Dope.
his own. So
Dope.
I was like, wow, did you just borrow some tennis shoes? Okay, thanks. And it just wasn't that. Like, he was just very family oriented, like,
Yeah.
doing family activities. And it was never like, okay, yeah, you go do that with the kids. I'm going to watch this game. No, he's always just really been involved. And that's what I had to really focus on, because my first husband, he was in the NFL, right? So I had this idea that I had to have like a guy that made this certain amount,
Same
and
level,
certain
same.
stats.
I ain't
and
gonna
da-da-da.
downgrade now.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna tell me to downgrade. Right.
And so I had to really work on myself and like, look, what really matters to you?
Right.
Because it ain't money, because you know how to get to the money. So like I've never been the type to be like, oh, I need to depend on a man. It's
Right.
nice if he has that, but I like making my own money, So it just sort of became like, okay, so you got to stop looking for that. Like, you get conditioned to look for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
it's a security blanket, though. I think that's what most women naturally look for first, is that security. But like a person like you've always been getting to it, the bag, whether it was up, down, catering, whatever, you've always been getting to the bag.
Yeah.
So making your own, that's on your top priority list.
Yes. And I had to, just say, okay, a lot of these things you think you need, you don't even really need them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to get caught up in the things, you know what I mean? So having this mindset, like, okay, you can quite possibly build with somebody. You know what I mean? And that is really how I sort of let my guards down with my husband. Like, okay, because he was transitioning, coming off of a divorce, and that's hard. That's hard on you financially.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So he wasn't in necessarily the best position, So that is, I think I can be honest here and say, that's kind of why he was friend zoned at first. It was like, okay, let me see,
Get
how
your
this
life
is
together first. Hold on now.
Let me
see.
see
Two train
if this is gonna,
train crashes.
Right, exactly. Let me see, how this is gonna pan out.
Yeah.
And then I realized, we can work together. You know what I mean? And it definitely does work. And I would never have guessed at that moment that I would later be leaving my job and leaving my job. And
see how God works.
Yeah.
See how God works. No, that is truly amazing. And I love to see that, just the progression of women, mothers especially, just to progress to that, and you can see that life is not over. After the divorce, life is not over. Because that first divorce, and I don't know about you, but speaking personally, that first divorce I'm saying first like I had multiple, but when I had my divorce, it did something to me. Mentally, it put me in a space. And at the time, like, we had 3 children. And it was like, we had the book company, had to sell the book company. We had King's Real Estate. We didn't have any more properties under that. Like, we sold all the properties. It was like, what now? What next? Because you don't expect your life to, you don't plan to have children with somebody and be with somebody and then just to stop and up and leave. But God has a way of showing you things like, you were meant to create these children, but this is not where you were meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it did something to me to where it's like, how am I going to rebuild? And that's how I became to, I started putting my business on Instagram before Instagram was where it is now. Before they even had like videos. Remember, it was just pictures.
Yeah.
So I started putting stuff on Instagram, just being very transparent about what I was going through, what I was suffering through, the depression, going to therapy, the insecurities, and it was just like, it became a place of therapy for me. And through that is when people started, like my author audience started gravitating towards, like, let me see what's going on in her life. And people were checking on me, strangers.
Yeah.
Checking on you, like, are you okay? What's going on? So it really does something to you, to your mental, to you spiritually, going through that first divorce. But to get through that and progress through that and push through that and to find love again, a happy love, a healthy love, like, that's the message that I really want to show. You know,
Yep.
it's the message I really want to show, because it's not over.
No.
It's someone sitting out there right now that's going through that. That is, I just met one of my sorority sisters yesterday. She just got me. She was 59 and newlywed.
Yeah.
Newlywed. So,
And women need to see that, because you do get discouraged.
Yep.
Like you, after divorce, I was deeply depressed, you know, and not as much as because it's like, oh my God, I'm so heartbroken, but it was just, you know, of course I was heartbroken,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But there's also this life that you envisioned. Like, I grew up with a single mother who always worked 2 jobs, who worked very hard, you know what I mean? And I didn't want that life for myself,
Yeah.
you know? And so, and that's sort of like the flash that I got before my eyes, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a single mother. I'm gonna have to work 2 jobs, and you know, and I didn't, you know what I mean? But that, well, I guess was my trauma, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I was so afraid, and so had this idea of this nuclear family.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I
failed. What's
Yeah,
going
I'm not
on?
gonna I don't have a nuclear family anymore, you know.
Right.
But you know, you move on, you
Yeah.
know, you realize there's so much more life to live. And to be honest, like, that made me the strongest. Like, going through divorce, like, that's why I feel like anything that happens now, oh, I could take it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I
done
mean?
Been
Like,
through it all,
yeah.
did there, I survived it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Once
bring
you-
on the sharks. Bring on the
Yes,
sharks.
exactly,
Bring on the
exactly.
sharks.
And I, you know, that fearlessness, once it sort of gets inside of you, you can't shake it, because you know what you've been through, and
Right.
you know what you can do and what you're
Right.
capable of.
Right.
And that's why, you know, I ended up, like I said, you know, when I was facing that blockage in my business after that first year, I was like, wait a minute, I know I can do these things. What is stopping me?
Yeah.
You know, and I got to
Yeah.
the root of it and pushed past it, you know.
And that's all it's about. That's all it's about, the lessons that, again, nothing is a fail. No L is a loss. Everything is about the lessons. But you have to learn and grow from it.
Yes.
And that's where it lies, learning and growing from all of your trauma.
Yes.
All of your
Yes.
trauma.
Yes.
And
yes.
not passing it down to those babies.
Yes, exactly.
They're going to have their own version of trauma, but not passing it down. How was it transitioning into the stepmom, or do they refer to you as stepmom or just mom?
It's just so cute. They actually call me Poppy.
Poppy.
When I first met my husband, his youngest daughter at the time was about 5-ish, and the movie Trolls was really big right
Okay.
then.
Okay.
Are you familiar with
I'm
that?
familiar with Trolls. I haven't seen Trolls, but I'm familiar with
So
with
the
Trolls.
main character, the little very bubbly troll, the one that is
name
the
is
star,
Poppy?
her name is Poppy.
Oh.
And so she was just like, I'm going to call you Poppy. And she wrapped her arms around my leg, and the rest was history. So his girls call me Poppy. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just meant to be, because my daughter and his kids, they clicked, his daughters clicked, and, you know, they're like thick as thieves.
Yeah.
You know, if I plan a vacation, I make sure I'm planning it so they can attend, you know, so that they
And
can
you
be
mentioned
there on their weekend.
co-parenting.
Yes.
How important is that, or how, for those that are watching, because we still have a lot of broken homes in this world that is ridiculous. How important is it co-parenting in the household and with building your business, especially because you have a platform and those children will be a part of your platform as well. How important would you say that, or take me, how are you managing that with the other children's mother, or is she approving of it? And
we actually haven't talked about it a lot. If there was ever a situation where they didn't approve, then I would definitely respect their wishes. You know what I mean? I try to be very conscious and not overly, you know, including them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I try to be conscious. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I try to be respectful. Not try, I am.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
respectful in that way. And I ask them if they're comfortable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're big girls.
Yeah.
So if they're not comfortable doing it, I don't do it, you know? So it's not an issue.
I think, because I come from a blended family, and I think that helps shape who I am. And then we've created our own blended family. We have 7 together in total. So I think it plays on that a lot to have those healthy co-parenting situations, because that can be a mind block.
Yeah.
Like, I find is that when we're not okay, or if something's not okay, it affects how I work through my business. It affects how I'm handling business with other people. So that's why I asked that. I mean, it's so common nowadays, like women, and I was just watching, I don't know if you follow Super Scent. She was she was just speaking about co-parenting.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
And she was going in. I'm like, girl, yes. Like, we need to speak on that a lot more, because there are a lot of women holding on. And like she said, I don't even say that it's a bitterness. It's just a trauma that how dare you do this for that side and not for this side?
Yeah.
Or are you allowing them to do that for this side? So this world needs some therapy.
It does.
This world needs some therapy.
Does. Yes, definitely. I mean, and really what it boils down to, Tammy, is self-awareness.
Yeah.
You know, it's the self-awareness, being able to say, okay, I'm having these feelings about this situation. Why am I having these feelings? Like, what is causing me to have this angst or, dislike this person or whatever? And as far as co-parenting, if you can be self-aware enough to say, look, this has nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with me,
We need to figure out what's going to be this best situation for this child. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people don't do. They're so caught up in their feelings and how things went sour in the relationship or, whatever the case may be, that they can't remove themselves from it in order to say, this is what the child needs.
On it. Speak
you
on
know
it.
what I mean?
Right.
And early on in my co-parenting relationship, with my daughter's dad, I came to the realization, like, look, I don't need the court to dictate to me how often, he can see her. You know, I want him to be a part of her life.
Why can't we be mature enough to figure that out on our own?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I'm not gonna make this a jail for you to where you can't see her outside of these 6 days or whatever the court document says. Right. Like, I want this to feel as natural and normal as possible. And in that situation, in my mind, that doesn't mean you only get to see her 3 days or, whatever. Whatever's going on, I'm going to include you, whether if you come or, you don't, that's on you.
Right.
And he, was always participating. But say there was something that was going on with his family that didn't fall on his weekend. I don't want to have to say,
go ahead, come get your baby.
Yeah, go enjoy it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, oh, you can't go because it's not your weekend. Like, that's silly, and it's too much of that going on.
Yeah, it comes with a level of maturity, too.
Yeah,
I feel like self-awareness is a big one. And then you also have to mature from those hurtful spaces and places in your life. And yeah, we're going to get through it, though. We're going to get through it one mom at a time.
Yes.
That's why I love platforms like this, and just to, expose and just to show that everyone is human.
And you're not the only one.
Exactly. You are not the only one. We all go through similar situations.
Yes.
So we have a segment called This or That.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you some options, and I want you to just tell me what would you choose if you had to. We're going to do some of the easy ones first.
Okay.
All right. So soul food or seafood?
Seafood. Like, I'm low-key supposed to be pescatarian, right?
Low-key, wait.
Okay. So about a year into the relationship with my husband, I saw some Netflix specials and I convinced him to becam pescatarian with me, right?
Which Netflix
I think
special?
It was what was it? What the Health? I think
What the Health? That's the one. That's that special that scared everybody out of eating meat.
Exactly.
Lord Jesus.
So What the Health convinced me to become pescatarian, and so I convinced my husband to become pescatarian. And then after 2 pregnancies, I became sort of like anemic, and so I needed to eat
more.
And then I sort of switched over to eat your blood type, and my blood type requires me to get more protein. So I started back eating chicken and turkey, but I still don't do red meat or pork. But anyhow, I say all that to say that's why I'm choosing seafood.
Wait, I'm about to say, that ain't low key. You just
yeah. Ow.
You just like seafood. We're gonna leave it at that.
Yes.
We're gonna support her on her pescatarian journey, because low key,
it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back.
It is gonna come back. Okay. So natural or perm?
Natural.
Okay. All right. All right. Is that if you don't mind me asking, that's all?
It's
That's all
natural.
you?
Yep, I just flat ironed it this morning.
Okay.
Actually, yep.
I'm team natural. I wear wigs under here. I'm team natural, trying to figure out the new look. But yeah, are you a rap or R&B girl?
Rap.
Rap. Who you
Oh,
listening
girl,
to?
that 21 Savage got me in a chokehold right now, baby. Listen.
21 Savage. 21.
Which I found out.
I was not
I
expecting
just
that.
found
I was
out
not expecting that.
Red rum actually means murder.
Murder backwards. Yes. Yes.
So I was like, oh dang, okay. So I had to turn it down. But.
So back in the day, and I don't know if it reached all the way up here to Atlanta, but there was a record company called Red Rum Records. You ever heard of that? And that's when I found out that it was murder backwards. Okay. Shout out to Philly. I love Philly. But yeah, no. So there was a Red Rum Records, and that's when I learned that it was murder backwards. So, yeah.
I was just listening to it sort of intensely. Started listening to the words. And I was like, he's not talking about like a drink. Like, and some just said, let me Google.
Let me see. Right.
Let me see. I was like, oh, okay. Why do we all? But it's always like that. The songs that bump the most are always about murder, basically. Unfortunately.
All right. So $5 million now in one lump sum, or $5,000 a week for the next 5 years, and why?
$5 million right now.
Why?
I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen 5 years from now, 3 years from now.
What would you do with $5 million right now?
I would invest in my business. I would buy real estate. Hands down, I would buy real estate and invest in my kids. That wasn't
hard. That's a hard question for me, because I have to think like $5 million now. First, I'm adding up. See, what am I going to get with $5,000 a week, and then how can I'm always playing on a part of how can I invest that long term for the kids, and yeah, you could do that through real estate as well. Yeah. But like you said,
I would purchase real estate. I would buy real estate for all my kids. And I would probably do multifamilies. I would probably purchase some multifamilies.
Okay, yeah. Multifamilies. Those are the money maker. We had a multi-unit up in Philly. Those are the cash cows. Yes. Those are the cash cows.
Coach got them row homes, and oh my gosh! So I actually sold a home. So my husband's from Philly. He's from West Philly.
Is he? Okay.
Right by Drexel.
Okay.
He grew up off
Center City, University City.
Yes, right in the area.
Shout out to University City.
We had so I ended up having a client there not too long ago, and it was a multifamily, and they had like 3 units inside it, and it needed to be rehabbed and whatnot. But it's a great city for that. Mm-hmm. Yes,
I think growing up in Philly has a whole different mentality. Now Georgia, we've only been down here a short time, but Georgia, they're not built like how we're built. No shock. Are you from Georgia?
No, I'm originally from St. Louis.
Oh, okay. I'm saying no knock to Georgia, but Philly has a whole different dog mentality when it comes to this business thing, when it comes to hustling, when it comes sort of like New York. They just have a whole different mentality, like that I appreciate being from Philly. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate just that whole atmosphere, just that whole how I was raised. How down here it just seemed like it's just so fluffed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people from the Northeast get to it. You know what I mean? Like it's down south, it's a lot more sugarcoating. Things move a little bit slower. Mm-hmm. I have colleagues that are from Jersey, and that whole little stretch, Jersey, Philly, New York, and they get to it. They're straight to the point. I had there's this meme I had is normalize getting straight to the point when you're talking to me. And that's what I think of when I think about people from from the Northeast.
Tell me how it is.
Yeah.
It's straight to the point. Tell me how it is.
Yeah, it's a different, I think because you have that hustle and bustle, the life is so much faster, the public transportation, everything is so much faster up north than down south.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And I miss that. I appreciate the southern living, but I do miss that.
Yeah. It's a different mentality.
Yes. Well, I enjoyed talking to you, Miss Lakeisha.
This was fun.
You are so dope, and your page is so fun and amazing, by the way. I'll be sharing your stuff too.
I appreciate it.
How can someone get in contact with you on the real estate side, on the Living with Wiggins side, any business inquiries? How can somebody get in contact with you?
Did somebody say real estate?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So you can find me at Did Somebody Say Real Estate on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay.
And then also Living with the Wiggins on Instagram.
Nice. Website?
Website is also, did somebody say real estate?
Okay.
Yes.
Now, are you doing any coaching or
Not at this time.
is that down the line?
I think so. I'm
Okay.
sort of feeling I'm getting pulled in that direction.
Because you're like a wealth of knowledge though. You've been in
thank
it for.
you.
I mean, just overall, even not just with real estate, but just about business. Or I could see you as a life coach.
Thank you.
Honestly, I get that feel.
And a few people have like dropped that, and I didn't even know that was going to be part of my journey. And I keep hearing those same two words together. So, like I said, I lean into
it.
What comes in front of me.
Well, I'm excited to see what's going to come from you, and I'm going to definitely still be tuned in to Living with the Wiggins.
It was so good meeting you and getting to know you.
Likewise. So, if you want to get in contact with Miss Lakeisha, she gave all of her drops. I'm also going to put it into the description section of this episode. But that concludes episode 3 of the Boss Mom Huddle. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your baby daddy, tell whoever you got to tell about the huddle because we are here. We're also going to be bringing some events that's going to be coming to the Atlanta area very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. And you can always reach out to us at the Boss Mom Huddle on Instagram or at Tammy Capri _ on Instagram or at thebossmomhuddle.com. And just a few shout outs, y'all. I have to give a shout out, and I wanted to do this earlier. I forgot. I have to give a shout out to our production crew, 404 Creators. Like, when I say they are so dope and professional and always on time and show up, if y'all need them, I'm going to put their link down here too. I believe it's at 404 Creators on Instagram. But yeah, shout out to y'all. Shout out to Hev Hitter and shout out to Marv. He did our intro music, The Boss Mom. Awesome. So that full song will be coming because people been asking, where's this song at?
Yes, oh my God.
Yes, where's the song? I was like, y'all, it's just a clip. It's just a snippet, but I'm on him like, yo, Marv, they asking. So, yep, that song, he is doing a full song for that. So you'll be able to stream that on Tidal, Apple Music, wherever it's coming. So just shout out to the team. That just goes to show you can't do anything without a team. So until next time, stay tuned.